Hi, I'm Mirasha, and I'm going to make for you one of my favorite dinner time salads. It's a beet and spinach goat cheese salad, which sounds like a really fancy restaurant thing to make, but it is actually one of the simplest things, and it might surprise you to know that it comes from the oldest recipe that I ever learned from my Ukrainian grandmothers. As a child, I was spoiled by two of the most spectacular Ukrainian babas in the world who stuffed me with pierogies and cabbage rolls every day of the week, of my life, in fact. So I really grew up learning how to make very rich, very incredible foods. And I'm very grateful to them because once you learn how to roll a pirich and stuff a cabbage, I think you can pretty much master anything. But as a young adult, I wanted to incorporate more healthy cooking into my regime because Eastern European cooking, if you think about it, there's not a lot of green vegetables in there. Aside from the potato, it's like we don't recognize any vegetables at all. So when it comes to looking for healthier things to eat, that is where the beet comes in. And some people might think, well, it's really high in sugar. When you look at the nutritional content of a beet, it is very high in iron, very high in fiber, potassium, calcium, B vitamins, folate. It is so good for you. So it is the highest sugar a vegetable does provide, but because it is the lowest in calories, the official verdict is it's good for you. So that's good news for all beet lovers. So what I've done here is cut the beetroot from the beet greens, which are these beautiful, delectable leafy greens, and you don't get rid of these greens. You hold on to them, and this will be great for tomorrow's dinner. You cook these the way you would spinach or Swiss chard or kale. You can fry them up, saute them with some onions or some sauteed pork. Again, that's an Eastern European vegetable side dish. Those are traditionally the ones that have meat in them. That's how you know it's Eastern European vegetables. So you're left with the beet, which has got about an inch, inch and a half of the root. You leave it completely intact because if you pierce it, you're going to lose some of that beautiful color. And the way you cook it traditionally, from my baba's knee, I learned, is you get a big, big pot of water, get it on the boil. Cold water is best, and they need to boil for about 50 minutes to 60 minutes, so it takes a really long time. Keep them boiling until they are tender to the piercing with a knife or a fork. Now, I don't really have as much time on my hands, and my grandmother would always say, I love you that much. I'll do it from scratch. I love you that much. And so you can see right there that Eastern European cooking and the guilt kind of go hand in hand. I found a quicker way to do it, and seeing how it is 42 degrees today in Toronto, I believe that the scientific term for that kind of weather is stink hot. I found a way to do it in the microwave. So if you take a nice heavy dish with a lid, quarter inch of water, put them in for about 15 minutes, it does the exact same work really well. A lot of people don't like to put vegetables in the microwave because it gets them mushy, but I promise you no more than 15 minutes and they are going to be beautiful beets. Leave them in there in the water for a few minutes until you can handle them. Then they will slip their skins and they will be a beautiful red color. Now, as I said, it is super hot, and because I am committed to modern cooking, which I learned with my second career that kicked in. I was the host of a daily television talk show here in Toronto for 3 fantastically fun-filled seasons. I was spoiled again. Every day I would have the city's best chefs come in and make something spectacular for me. So I learned from people like Christine Cushing and Lynn Crawford, all the people you see on the Food Network. They would come and make a dish, and I would learn not only how to make it, but what ingredients it takes to get that fantastic restaurant-style taste at home. So I would come home with a whole new toolbox of skills that I could incorporate into these wonderful traditional recipes that I learned from home. So, knowing what I know and knowing how to modernize things, I'm going to introduce something that might offend some people. So if there are any babas watching, avert your eyes right now. The canned vegetable. A lot of people don't like them, but I'm here to tell you that they have come a long way, I promise you. And the canned beets, all it is beets. They are fantastically good for you still, have all their nutrients intact. So I've opened up the can, and to prove to you that they are as delicious as cooking them from scratch, I'm going to use the canned variety in today's recipe. So just pop it open, pour it out, and of course, please try and wear your whitest shirt while handling the most stain-producing vegetable on the planet. I am a genius. Gosh, I really should have had an apron on. Okay, so strain it, and again, what I love about beets is that you can use every part of it. Hold on to the juices. You can flavor soup stocks with it. If you have protein shakes, my husband drinks this really disgusting green stuff in the mornings, and I'm so turned off of it. A quarter cup of beet juice turns it into a very palatable, delicious color, and I'm more apt to actually drink them. So just take your beets, don't rinse them because you'll get rid of some of that delicious flavor that we were talking about. And the way I'm going to cut them today, just to keep it all fancy, is I'm going to cut them into medallions lengthwise like this. So this is the end product. They look so terrific and beautiful. Now I know a lot of people will say use gloves when handling beets because you will get the color on your fingers. I don't know too many people who can actually cook with gloves on, so I'm just going to give you a little tip that I've learned. A squeeze of lemon juice on your fingers right afterwards will take the red right out, so don't worry about it. Let's just be real for a second. Who cooks with gloves? I don't know those people. You're in a rush. You're trying to cook something for dinner. What's for dinner? We believe in quick dinners. So just cut a few up into beautiful medallions like that. And then your next ingredient is the goat cheese. And I have it in the freezer for a good reason. I'll tell you in a sec. Here it is. I don't know who designs the packaging for these goat cheeses. I don't know. I don't think they're very smart. You just cut off all of the packaging to loosen it. I put it in the freezer about 10 minutes before I need to use it because then I find that it actually keeps its shape for what I need it to do. And it lifts out of the packaging very easily. Kind of comes out like a plastic coffin. There you go. And it's really easy to work with at this point. Because since I cut the beets into medallions, I am going to cut the goat's cheese into medallions. Because this dinner salad is going to look as good as it will taste. Because obviously presentation is such a significant part of eating. We eat with our eyes, as they say. So cut a few rounds like that. A bed of baby spinach is ready for you. This is the pre-washed variety, but again, I've got my grandmother's voice coursing through my head, saying, don't believe it, it's not clean. So I, of course, wash it again. Guilt goes a long way. And so I just layer the beets in whatever pattern you like. I like it to look like a flower. Put them out like that. And then you just layer the goat's cheese in between. And it looks really lovely. Portion control looks fantastic. How pretty is that? It just looks like summer. Really nice. And for the dressing, oops, that's almost as easy. I've got here melted in this glass bowl about a teaspoon of honey. Since dressing is not going to be cooked, you've really got to use the best ingredients that you've got. For the honey, I love organic honey. This came from Winnipeg. All good things come from Winnipeg. So I'm not saying Billy Bee isn't good. I grew up on Billy Bee. I love the Billy Bee. Use the best vinegar that you have. Some people like balsamic, but I find with this salad it overpowers the taste and the flavors of the very delicate beets, the tanginess of the cheese. I use apple cider vinegar. It kind of picks up the fruitiness. Very nice. I use just a little bit more than I have of the honey. And then the oil. I like extra virgin olive oil, but if you want canola, if you've got heart healthy issues there, whatever you prefer. Again, a very light, even grapeseed oil would work very nicely. Very light seasoning because we want the vegetables to speak for themselves. Lightly whisk it together. There we go. Drizzle it on top. Very lightly. Fantastic. And as a crowning achievement, what Eastern European dish wouldn't be complete without some toasted walnuts? And I've just put them on a dry pan on high heat just to get that nice oil coming out of the walnuts so they get that full woody flavor from those delicious walnuts, very fresh from California. Fantastic. Beautiful salad. I hope you like it. Food with personality. That's what I make, and that's how I make it. Enjoy!